What's up? I'm on Chyla, all that good stuff. My day's going pretty good. Hopefully yours is. You can always leave a comment on that if you wish. Biggest of concern you should always have is the safety that you should and always have. Is this a concern that is amongst what it is that you might think? No matter what situation you may be? Is it something you always leave yourself a way out? Do you know you can handle it without a doubt? Is it the biggest of concerns that you have? Or is it that you forget about such things very fast? Can it be that sometimes we do not think of these things the way that it should be? Or maybe another safety as well? You know, there's more than just you that's here that happens to dwell. Do you concern yourself too much with your own, but neglect to protect for what it is that is your own? Is it one of the biggest concerns that you have? Or is it you end up backing down really fast? Because for what it is that you defend, you are far from strong enough for that you which wish to defend. Biggest of concerns is what it should be, no matter for what or how you see, no matter for where, when, or how. Safety should always be, and you know for when and how. Is it a price that you're willing to pay to ensure another's safety upon this day? Or is it the last of your concern, when it should be the biggest of your concern? Of course, by mistakes. That is how we learn. But in situations where safety matters most, you don't always get a second chance to find out for what matters most. The biggest of what it is that should be your concern is the safety of who and for what you try to teach or learn. Or for what it is within your heart it happens to yearn. What it is that might be precious. Guarding for what love guards it is precious. The biggest of what it should be that is your concern. Sometimes you do not get a second chance to learn. Better to leave a way out and have a shield that pushes back as it is you're on your way out. The biggest of what should be what should that be your biggest concern? Is it what it is that you could earn? Is it for what it is you stand for? Is it something that you even take the chance or even try to open that door? Is it something that maybe you must learn more? Is it something that you do not have for what it is that is required for you to adore? Could it be that you do not know for what should be the biggest of concern? Is it that you make the same mistake and you never learn? For what should be always your biggest concern? The safety of who it is and what matters most in these moments that happen to matter most. The ones that do such things, they are honored. Ones that do not, they are considered what upon the spot. Think of whatever word you might to keep ones away from such ones as that. Is that not the point of this fight? So, the biggest of what should be your concern? Is it your safety or for what? Maybe you might need to learn for what actually matters and why to you for that it happens to matter. Do you know enough about yourself for this you to know? Or when you look in the mirror, you do not know for who is in front of you that happens to show? Hmm. You catch my drift upon that? If safety is your biggest concern, and you put yourself in a dangerous place because of something that you should not be seeking in that place. That aside, what is your biggest concern in this place? Is it something that you think you can acquire? Even if you did, you would still have to defend it after you acquire. Would it not be that that would be for at that point? For the phrase I've been saying to you, at that point, maybe then you would see. For what is the biggest of your concern? Do you know yourself enough to know that answer? But the question also is, can you look at yourself and say that answer? If you can't, you might want to get your priorities straight. Otherwise, how do you expect to be great in this place? The biggest of what it is that is your concern. No matter for what it is that you happen to go through, you may never get a second chance to learn. for what should be your biggest concern. Are these things that you are willing to take the chance and fail for what it is that you need to learn? Or do you know where your priority is and what is the biggest of for what should be your concern? When it is that your safety matters most, when no matter what you do, you still have to come back the same as you were. If you get my drift. Everything attached and all of that. Right? So why would you put yourself in a situation such as that? Do you not know for what should be your biggest concern? Or does it need to be something, a very bad situation? Would you rather just not take a chance on that kind of situation? Doesn't mean that you cannot trust. Doesn't mean that you cannot push forward and thrust. Just means those are things you take in consideration for what is your biggest concern. But also, you still have to live and do for what you need to do. While these are considered for the biggest concerns to you. Is it something that you enjoy to do? Is it something that you do not? Do you know how to handle and get yourself out? By always leaving a way. Are you courageous? Upon this day, are you one that even if a threat were to show its face, you would be the one to put for what another might think as a threat in its place? Are you one that is persistent in reminding ones that within what it is you might have seen, for within their life, a certain consistency has been seen? Do you remind them for what their biggest concern should be? Or do you just wait for them to see? Is it something that's easy? Is it something that's hard? Is it something that will take you a short distance, or will it take you far? To know for what will and should be, for what your concentration should be. But not overlooking for what life is. No matter for what you wish to have with this life as it is. So your biggest concern, is it something rational or is it something that, to back off a little, you must learn? Is it something that you do this a little too little? Need to tighten up instead of letting so much pass. As far as what you think is his biggest concern, as it is this time happens to pass, do you do it wisely? Do you do it rash? Do you take and pass judgment too fast? Or do you do it too slow? As far as which way amongst these paths you should go, the biggest of what that is your concern. What might ease your mind so you're more willing to learn? For what should and should not be such things as this? Is it hard for you to determine for what is and could be this? Or is this just a hit or miss? Now, keep in mind if it is you have been listening to this. I'm asking questions that only you have the answer. So what is your biggest concern? Not giving the answer? Feeling as maybe you might not be able to look at yourself if it was you were to be honest? The biggest concern amongst this point is that you should be honest. Can you even answer any of these? Many of my videos and other things such as these. I ask questions that make you think about the answers. That's why there's many chances and many times why I am quiet. So you have time to absorb what you have just listened to and give the answers of the biggest concern. If it is you wish to make progress and maybe learn maybe about that individual that you may not know. But every day you look at the mirror, they happen to show. So what is it amongst these that is your biggest concern on any of these? Amongst the biggest concern, what is the reason for what it is that is your concern? Is it based on something that is likely? Or is it something that is far from likely? The biggest of your concern. Why worry about something that does not need your concern? The biggest of your concern should be what it is. That is your safety, of course. But these others that make you be clouded for what it is that should not be clouded. Do you have motives for why you might be doing for what it is you do? Does it put you at risk? Or is that a big concern? Are you able to know when it is you are to do for what? To have the safety, your safety net, leaving your way out. No matter for where you go, no matter for what you do, no matter when or where, or anything, even there. But other than that, what is your biggest concern? Is it something that needs your attention, or are you stopping yourself from bettering and the chance to learn? The biggest of what it is that should be your concern. Has maybe these answers changed amongst the time that you have listened? Or are they still consistent? Even when answering questions as it is you have listened? No matter for when or how you have listened? Or maybe you might have watched. What is the biggest of your concern and take the most time upon your watch? Is it something that does not deserve such? Should it be something less than what it is and not that much? Are they worries that are unseen? Because of such things, upon this day no rosebud could be seen. Is it maybe a sorrow's deep within what it is that should be the biggest of your concern and be seen? Is it a guard of what it is that is your love? Is it something that you feel that has been given to you from above? Is it something that's worth the price of what would be called love? What is the biggest of your concern? Could it be that maybe you overthink such things? The biggest of your concern are using these such things. Well, it is decisions that are major, timing and positioning and the posture. These things are crucial and major. Is it maybe you pay attention to for what is the comments? When it is, they are not humble, but they are useless comments. For the biggest of your concern are these things that you allow too much upon your watch. And then, as the time slips by, you don't even look at your watch. And then, before long, the biggest of your concerns, it is entirely gone. Because you did not pay attention to for what should be the biggest of your concern and deserves the biggest amount of your attention. Is it something maybe other than that? Is it something maybe you can describe with whatever it is you try to convey with your emotion and all of that? Could it be that you are one that just does not know for what should be the biggest of your concern? And because of this, you have not won. Is it that the biggest of your concern is not for what you should defend, and only one can sit upon, for what it is that is your life, and the right to do for what you wish to do? Do you not know that your life is your helm's deep to you? Maybe are you strong-willed? Maybe when one tries to break for what it is that is your will, they prove, and with your actions you prove, that their actions are in vain. For at that point, and before that day, you, even though they tried to lessen you, you knew for what was the biggest concern, and for what you should do to be able to learn, and be the best for what you could be. The biggest concern, no matter for what it is you see. Are these things that maybe you never consider? Sorry if these are things you do not consider. Is it something that maybe you might have missed? Amongst maybe information that you are lacking and you have missed? Is it maybe that you are not one that knows to box when it is you're supposed to bob and weave when it is that you are to box? The biggest of concerns, if it is that you are a boxer. Do you stand still, or do you bob and weave as a boxer? Is the biggest of your concern staying in your lane and knowing when it is for you to turn, when it is for you to go straight, when it is for you to go back? Whatever it is, the biggest concern for the life that you wish to have, you must stay on track. But let's lead this back. The biggest of your concerns as well is your safety in the midst of that. Are any of these things that maybe you might think why it is that you maybe perform actions before you think? Is it maybe you cannot recognize for what is a threat? Not being able to tell the difference for what it is that is a threat? Maybe your biggest concern is not looking for joy in the better parts, just what it is you wish to earn. Many things to be considered. Have you ever thought of such things before your actions are considered, with expected actions and all of that? And you tell the mountain to move, and it must do that. Is the biggest concern something that maybe you need information that you're lacking to learn? Is it maybe for what it is that is your dream and aspiration? Do you not know you must put actions in for what it is that is your aspiration? But of course, amongst all of this, the biggest concern why trying to do such things as this, the safety why it is you do such things as this, outlying areas such as this affect things such as this. But it does very little if you know for what is a big concern and what is little. But also you must cut through the noise of what it is that is the useless noise, of what it is that others that misinform you, for what should be the biggest concern to you and me. Do you even know for what is the biggest concern if it stared you in the face and told you, hey, guess what? It's me. Would you know for what would be your biggest concern? Or do you pay attention to someone else to tell you for what is important to you and what you must do? And the importance of what is considered the safety of you? In the midst of all of this that you could possibly do? But in truth, what is the biggest concern to you? You could choose all for what it is I have said. Even beyond for what I have currently said. Or you could choose a few. But what is the biggest concern to you? Now that you might have answered such things as this, for what you wish to achieve, what is your biggest concern about achieving whatever it is that is this? Is it that maybe you think that you are less? Do you think that you cannot do for what could be amongst that field the best? With an attitude like that, no wonder you're below the rest. The biggest concern. How much effort do you put in? Whatever it is your biggest concern. Is it a measly 50%? Or can you even count for what it is that is the percent? You wonder why it is? Maybe you do not get for what you think it should be. Of course, your safety amongst all this. One of the biggest concerns in the midst of this. Do you have a plan of attack for what to do to achieve whatever it is that is this? Will you defend for what it is that is your keep? For what is the biggest concern that you wish to keep? Or when another happens to start a siege upon your keep, will it be that you will allow them to sit upon your seat? Or will it be like a sorrow's deep? Whatever it is that you could produce that only you can. Will it be? But with you, when you are gone and in the ground. For no one to see. Here's the thing. you're the one that chooses that fate. Even if you do not believe at first. An hour a day for 1 year. Do that. And then answer for what you think you can or cannot do. Until then, well, you prove for what, in truth, is the biggest of your concerns. And what is not. When you never know, you could affect someone's life, believe it or not. No matter how big or small. What amongst these things? Even if maybe amongst your aspirations and dreams is a family and nothing else. That is fine as well. If you have an idea or something, you might as well work on it as well. You don't have to put that much effort. You really don't. As long as you're consistent. At the end of your life, at least you can say you were consistent. Or would it be that you would rather say, I wish I knew for what was my biggest concern upon that day. I wish when it was that I was asked if I would stay, that I did. I wish I would have pursued for what it is I thought about every day. But I did not know for the man or woman that looked back. When it is that I looked in the mirror, I did not know for who it was that looked back. Nor did I know for what was capable and being able to be and could be produced by that. But now, amongst for what it is that is my last moments, I regret. For what it was, I did not take advantage before my last moments. Because I did not know for what was the biggest of my concern. Until no more actions I could do. And at that point is when I happened to learn. Do you wish it to be as that last part? Or before that? What is your biggest concern? After hearing that, it is still that you choose not to move. If it is that you don't, then don't complain about what's not produced, because you don't. Or the way your surroundings could have been better, but because you did not know for what should matter, and should have been for what would be your biggest concern. Now, at the end of your life, as you review it, these are the times these lessons are learned. So what is it that is the biggest of your concern? Well, that looks like all the time that I have for now. So,